The following program is a public service of Gulf Coast State College, WKGC, and Commodore Productions. And now, the Military Hour with Cary Deeter.
Welcome to another edition of Military Hour, and I have two very special guests here with me this morning. One is the Honorable Mayor of Lynn Haven, and that would be Margo Anderson.
Good to see you.
God bless you. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
Cold hands, warm heart, undoubtedly. And my other special guest is Jerry Tabbat.
Cary, good to see you.
Good to see you again. Retired Air Force. We won't hold Chair Force against him because he's a brother and I love him too.
But you got to remember, the Air Force kitchens overseas, the Army loves us because we have hard kitchens to eat in.
Right, but we had to teach you everything you know because the Air Force came out of us. Now I think I just won that argument, didn't I?
But we still have your back.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's all from the power in the sky, which is the modern day warfare. In any event, we'll get off that tangent. I have some questions for the mayor that if she wants to answer them, fine. If you don't, just say, well, no, I'm not going to answer that. But my concern is this. We all lived through and survived as best we could Hurricane Michael. You, in my opinion, which my opinion means nothing, stepped up to the plate seriously for your community and your city.
Thank you.
And you're still doing it, which to me is amazing. And she's a very, very busy person and an honorable woman and a credit to not only your gender, but to your state, your county, and your city.
Wow.
Well, it's the truth. When you start looking out there at other people, it's like they could be doing more. Not saying that some aren't, but you've gone above and beyond. You really have.
Thank you, sir.
So tell me from the onset to the midpoint to where we are today in everything you and all of your people have worked with, for, and through, if you can do a synopsis.
Wow. And you said there would be easy questions.
And I told you I wouldn't put you on the spot. See, that'll teach you.
Well, I will tell you this at the risk of promoting it. I am writing a book about it. It's called 45 Days. It's the first 45 days. And I have one book already on Amazon from when I was a flight attendant on 9/11. So my husband says he thinks disasters follow me. But it has been a very challenging time for everyone. I really appreciate your kind words so much. It's not something I expected to happen during my term as mayor. Actually, the first 4-year term was just ending. The storm hit in October and the term would end in April.
Yes, ma'am.
And who would think, but I will tell you that when I first became mayor, the first month I went back and looked at my calendar, and one of the first things I asked about was our disaster plan. And we had a 3-page disaster plan. And so we went to work on that. And so we did have a good disaster plan in place in Lynn Haven. We just met this morning to look at what we think we did well, things that we didn't expect, things that we would do differently, and most importantly, the fact that we're already in hurricane season. And so that's what we looked at this morning, but I got ahead of myself a little bit. But when the storm hit, the first thing that happened that was different than it had ever been in Lynn Haven before was the charter reads that when a declared disaster happens in the city, the mayor becomes the head of the fire department and the police department and the city. Mm-hmm. Normally, the city operations are taken care of by the city manager. And so, and I am, at the risk of offending anyone, I am a woman, and to come into the fire chief, the police chief, and the predominantly male department heads of the city and say, I've declared an emergency and now I'm the head of the city, that was probably the first challenge. And I will say that, it was an uncomfortable moment. And after that, I'd already prayed about it before I went in to talk to them. And I said to them, I'm not going to change anything that you always do. I don't know anything about running a police department nor a fire department, so you'll carry on with what you normally do. And the city manager will carry on the daily operations of the city. But what I would like to do is I'd like to ask to be informed of everything that's happening so that I can be our voice to the governor and whoever else we might need to talk to, FEMA, so that I can be accurately informed. I would like to take the job of taking care of the people of the city, of being out and about and finding out what their needs are, coordinating what we're going to need afterwards, And those are the two things that I will take care of.
Mayor,
And-
that is
and we went from there.
wisdom and wise on your part. And forgive me for
No,
interrupting
that's
you.
no.
but, and any man worth his salt knows that he should have the utmost respect for women, because guess what? All of our mothers were women. I learned that very young.
Well, you know, the thing that has been, and I'll say one more thing about this, the most uncomfortable thing about having been the mayor during this disaster is really what just happened at the beginning of this program, the things that you said, because I have the title of mayor, I tended to get all of the praise of the things that went right. On the other hand, I got all of the complaints for what went wrong. But people have been so kind to me, and even now, I mean, I can't, when I go to the grocery store, it's a 2-hour experience, or, you know, and because people want to talk and they want to express gratitude.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
the thing that I would like to say and get across the most in this program, the City of Lynn Haven employees, the police department, the fire department, everybody worked as a team. And everybody worked selflessly. They worked long hours. They worked sometimes without food. They didn't. Some people had not even had a shower for 10 days, and they continued to work. And one person cannot take credit for that. So,
Of course.
One question I have, Mayor, is the national news, let's face it, did not do a good job for us.
no.
And after their 48 hours of coverage, when they went back to their fancy news desks and everything, you heard them say about the way the community came together. Did it surprise you that Joe Smith on the corner of 4th and Vine and all of the local people themselves, the way they came together and helped one another? It was almost like a big family say, we got a problem here, folks, so we're going to work together. Did that surprise you, the way the community bonded like that?
No, it didn't, because that's what Lynn Haven is. I mean, that's and Bay County as a whole. I mean, we are a very giving community. We work together. But during the storm, Lynn Haven had to be my focus. I mean, that was, you know,
Sure.
and within the first 5 hours of the storm, I was out with of course we stay behind the police and fire department, the first responders, and most people already know this, but the building we were in was completely demolished.
Right.
We're a miracle in itself that we came out of that. But we were out on the all-terrain vehicles within just a few hours, you know, of the storm coming ashore, and literally. One gentleman was already trying to cut himself out of his house with a chainsaw, and when he saw us, he got on the vehicle with us and came with us to help us get other, you know, he just jumped in. And Wesley Stone, I'll never, ever, ever forget. Wesley is just 19 years old, and he pulled up in front of City Hall on his grandpa's front loader, you know, his grandpa owns Phoenix Construction. And Mayor, I'm going to clear Highway 77. I'll be back in a little while. I didn't see him for 18 hours, and he cleared 390 and Highway 77. He was the first hero in Lynn Haven, as far as I'm concerned.
And communications, that was something that was really bad. I mean, cell phone didn't work. You had no TV.
No.
The police radios were out and everything. How in the world did you guys coordinate all of that? Was it like running from place to place to place on your four-wheeler?
There were so many things that happened, Jerry. The thing that just killed me the most, even before the storm, I was always very active on social media. That's how I got information out. And so as soon as I could get there, a police officer drove me out to Channel 7 because they were operating. We knew they were. And we got on TV and started talking within, it was just a few hours. And I think people have told me over and over that was the big deal, that kind of got things going. I will give credit to my daughter. She grew up in Lynn Haven. She lives in Ponte Vedra Beach. And she brought 7 semi-trucks full of supplies to Lynn Haven, and organized that and got the donations. And they were there on Friday after the storm hit on Wednesday. And the truck had baby supplies. It had 1,000 jars of peanut butter and jelly and bread. It had blankets. It had all the things that, and her being a woman, she told me later, she said, I knew the peanut butter and jelly is what the moms needed because the kids couldn't eat those MREs. You know? So, you know, it was great. But the communication was a challenge. And I think everyone stepped up to the plate. I remember at one point I had a satellite phone and I was standing on top of my husband's pickup truck trying to get a signal. And I was talking to someone about a generator we needed for the water plant. And one cloud, you know how sunny it was after the storm, one cloud was above the truck. I felt like Charlie Brown. I was like, really? You know, and I couldn't get the signal out, and it finally went through. So that was a moment. But the communication, and we're working on that now. We're going to go to a different kind of communication. We approved that this morning in the staff meeting, and it's a separate signal that we're going to that meeting and we're going to order enough phones, and what will happen is that no matter what tower goes down, this particular phone system will go to the next signal, whatever the signal is, and the government officials will have priority on that, and so this will not happen to us again.
Good deal.
Somebody that I don't think has gotten enough credit either is the EOC.
Yes.
And Gulf Coast College, I don't know how many people know or don't know about it, is a big part of that.
Yes.
And in fact, I'm pretty sure Gulf Coast State College technicians, Brian, I'm not going to go to the last name, he figured out how to get it powered back up because there was a problem getting it powered up, and boom, boom, back up, running. But everybody out there was there for days and days, including cadre from here at the college. But they all did just a fabulous job.
They did do a great job. They did do a great job.
Makes you proud to live in an area, in a community like this, where we have our differences. We all have our differences. But when something like this happens, it's like, take care of your neighbor.
Yep.
Yes.
Take care of your friends. I mean,
Yes.
Absolutely.
it's amazing to me the way things just fell into place. And yeah, sure, people didn't have power and everything, but there was people going around with gas cans, hauling it out to them
Absolutely.
and everything. And that's amazing. They didn't have anything themselves, but yet they're pitching in. And we're doing it without any really knowledge of the rest of the country. I mean, we've got friends south of Atlanta. They didn't know what this like down here.
They still
A couple of months
Sure.
ago, I finally had to get a company out of Destin to put my metal carport up. The guy told us, he says, when we came across the Hathaway Bridge, we finally realized the problems you had here.
Yes.
They didn't even know about it in Destin, and that's that communications aspect where I think nationally they fell down on that myself.
And I think the news media, Jerry, one of the reasons that they dropped out was because of the fact that we did such a good job of taking care of ourselves. If you look at some of the other disasters, Katrina, the news covered that for weeks, and the reason they did is because of the violence that was going on, the looting that was going on. The Ninth Ward was not getting the support, the flooding, the people on the rooftops. That made news. People helping their neighbors and cutting down the limbs out of their front doors, that doesn't make news, and so they moved away from us, and that's really unfortunate. But that's how the media, how it goes. The EOC. One of you were talking about, the visual effects of a leader being out with their people and checking on the people. One of the things that was sort of a disagreement about the way I handled things in Lynn Haven between myself and the county and the EOC was the fact that I didn't stay at the EOC. And, I didn't see that as being a role for me. I wanted to be in Lynn Haven with the people of Lynn Haven. And so I really think that in future events that elected officials, we have county staff and all who man the EOC, but I think elected officials would be, and this is just my opinion, and my husband always tells me that I'm like Ron White. I have the right to remain silent, but sometimes I don't have the ability.
I love Ron White too.
But I think elected officials, unless they've evacuated for whatever reason, and everybody has their own thoughts about their safety, and in hindsight, I probably was not in the very best place, but it was where I thought that I needed to be. And if you're an elected official, I think you've got to be visible.
Right.
And I think that if people see you out and about and they see you in the same situation that they're in, they see you with the same struggles, I think that's how you lead. It's sort of like a general who's not afraid to go into the fight with the men.
Right.
If you're not going to go down and get your boots dirty, it's difficult to tell people what they should do.
You lead by example.
Real
you
leaders.
lead by example.
Yep, real leaders. Lead from the front.
Exactly.
Yeah, not from the rear. So, kudos for you. Seriously.
And
it's the right thing to do. I believe.
But one of the and another argument for that could be though, if things had not gone the way they should have in our building, maybe the EOC would have been the right choice at least during the storm. But in hindsight, I think I've done the same thing. But I remember saying on Facebook to people at midnight that night on a live Facebook, I was asking people to leave. I said, if you get in your cars now, it's midnight, it's middle of the night. But if you get your children, get your pets, get in your cars, just drive 150 miles northwest of here, you're going to be safe. And then I made this statement. I said, I'm in a solid concrete block building and I'm safe. And I want you to be safe too. And Hurricane Michael certainly showed us that, our ability, our vulnerabilities in the face of 167 mile sustained winds, we're all vulnerable.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It just proves that the power of the wind is a lot stronger in a lot of these buildings. And a lot of people don't realize that the shelters they go to, doesn't mean you're safe. It means it's safer than where you
You're
were.
right.
So the more material that you can put between you and the storm, the better off you are. But like you say, in my experience, I would say we had wind gusts probably in the 250 mile an hour range.
I have no doubt.
Yeah, I don't doubt that either.
That's the worst I've ever seen.
I've been through 8 hurricanes, and I thought Andrew was bad. This makes Andrew look like nothing. But there, Andrew just right across.
Didn't have the area that we had to the covered like it
Right.
did.
But the path of destruction here, to me, was just unbelievable.
This is the first storm, and I've done this for
50 miles.
almost 30 years. And this is the first storm I've seen in this area since I've been here in '79 that has come that far north before it started to turn either east or west. We were just hooked up in that time of the year where that upper level system that we had here talking meteorology was just
okay.
enough to let it advance. And it was over such extremely warm water, and it just exploded. And I think that caught a lot of people by surprise.
And to strengthen as it came onshore.
Yeah,
I mean, when have we ever seen that happen,
That was
Gary? You're the
unbelievable.
meteorologist. When
Yeah.
have we seen that happen?
It doesn't usually happen because it hits shallower water and everything, so you start to lose some of the upwelling effects. And you're already with the circulation as large as that was. As the closer it gets, the buildings, the trees and stuff start to wobble the wind field, and it starts to bring it down. But this thing actually intensified.
And this goes back
wild.
to one of the things I've always been interested in science. I love science. I love weather. And to think that we had the hurricane planes inside that eye wall as it came ashore, something that had never happened before. And that was one of the reasons that I had such a loud mouth about this was a Category 5, and it's going to be. And we had several arguments on a local level. It won't make a difference. Why does it make a difference? And I was so vocal.
make a
It
difference.
will make a difference, and it has made a difference.
Right.
And I haven't been too smug about too many things as mayor, but I've been very smug about this. I just know that I knew that it would make a difference.
People
and it
didn't
has.
realize that instead of you paying 75% at a Cat 4, it's now what, 95 or 90%?
It's at 90, and plus the president increased the 45-day 100%, and during the 45 days is when we did the big debris push,
Exactly.
and so we'll be reimbursed. And with the Congress and the president at odds like they have been, to have that solid ground of a Category 5, not only that, but the third largest storm in history to come ashore, recorded history, that gave the president solid ground to move forward. So.
Do you expect every business that was in Lynn Haven, big or little, before the storm to come back? That's one of the big questions people are asking when they see the vacant buildings in that.
It is a difficult question to answer, but our businesses are coming back, and we do have a CRA meeting this coming week, an advisory board meeting, and we did have incentives in place before to offer to businesses to locate in Lynn Haven. And small business has always been my push in Lynn Haven. The small businesses, before the push in Lynn Haven was that corridor, the 77 corridor. Mine has been to build up the old Main Street and the small businesses. And they are coming back, and we have new ones. And Chuck Perdue just opened the tax office again this week, and we were just talking about Flapjacks coming back.
Yeah.
And we have Victoria's Last Bite. We have Wild Root Coffee's open. We've got Lighting by Lorraine is now open in Lynn Haven. So these small businesses are coming back. So yes, I think
Good.
not
Good
only
deal.
will they come back, but I think we'll have more.
Good.
And truth be known, and I think some people may know it, mom and pop operations were the backbone of the American economy.
Yes, they were and are.
From day one, and they will continue to be a big part of it. Corporate, of course, yeah, we all like the Chick-fil-A's and the whatever, the McDonald's and blah, blah, blah. But you've got to have the independents and the mom and pops.
Yes.
So that's two engines
The
at work.
one-on-one, the service
Well,
you
sure.
get, it's
Of
like
course.
being part of your family, your friends. You get to deal with them on a daily
Yeah.
basis, and that's what makes it
Like you and I starting that new car wash in Lynn Haven in
Yeah,
our
right.
bathing suits and only washing cars when it rains so we don't deplete the water supply.
Close your ears, Mayor. You don't want to listen to this.
Well, since this is going to be my bid you adieu and thank you very much to Gulf Coast State College and to everybody that's been a part of Military Hour, I guess it's probably high time to announce that there's going to be a change. And I think it's going to be a welcome change. That being said, I just said that for all the military. It's one of those sayings they use too much. But in any event, I would like to invite everybody to please continue to watch and support Military Hour, especially support Gulf Coast State College, because they're military friendly, when we're community oriented. And without further ado, your new host is right here seated to my left, probably your right, Jerry Tabbat. Guess what we're going to do now?
But
Over here, brother.
okay, all right. Well, we got to be real careful here. So
Yeah, that's all right.
you
We're going
walk
to
in
mess
front
up.
of me.
We're going to mess up their mic checks.
It's like a changing of the guard.
It's a changing of the guard. I can't imagine how many people are going, hallelujah, we don't have to listen to that no-voice Deeter anymore.
Well, thank you, Cary. I appreciate it. This is kind of an honor for doing something like this. You know how the community, I love this community and everything, and I appreciate the opportunity. But you're not going anywhere. You're going to be around. You'll have to be a guest every once in a while.
Have
too.
you heard how I talk to my wife?
Yeah, well,
You
that'll
think
be
I'm going to be around?
That'll be another story. But thank goodness we have the mayor here and everything. And this is just an opportunity to continue on in this community.
But I thank you.
And let the people know that you did a great job, and it's going to be big shoes to fill. But I'm looking forward to it. If anybody's got any suggestions or anything that you'd like to do on the show, or have any information come out, we're here. We're open to it. But this is your show. Without you guys, there'd be no reason to have a television show.
Exactly.
So thank
That's
you, Cary, and I appreciate it.
It's my honor to turn it over to a brother veteran.
And with that, thank you, Mayor, for joining
you.
us today. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Again,
Yep.
thank you very much, Cary.
You came out and you got drowned on the way in. It's
Well,
like
it was a
walking through
little
the
wet.
storm, isn't it?
And I neglected to say, I never served in the military, and it was about age, really, the way the conflicts came up, because I actually wanted to be a nurse at one time in the
Wow.
military.
Good for you.
But my husband, as you know, is a Vietnam vet, combat vet. He is a 100% disabled vet, and I'm so proud of him. And he stood beside me through all the storm, and he was so valuable, and I just had to mention that. So
You talk to us old veterans, and you know what? We always say, if they need us, we're here.
That's it.
We're here.
Vets helping vets. That's what
There
it's
you
about.
go.
Exactly.
All right, this concludes this edition of Military Hour. Thank you all for tuning in. Mayor, again, good
Thank
seeing
you.
you.
Thank you.
And
Yes, ma'am.
thank you so much.
Cary, thank you for the opportunity to do this.
My honor, believe me.
We'll see y'all next week.
Thanks, everybody. I'm out. Say happy birthday. Bye.